Hello, and welcome to Stitching Across the Smokies. I'm Tanya, and I'd like to thank you for joining me in my little stitching neck of the woods. I want to thank all of my returning subscribers and let you know that I greatly appreciate it. If you are new here, I hope that you see something that you like. If you do, please like and subscribe today's video. So today is going to be a Flosstube extra, and it's going to be my September wrap-up. And I thought I would go over a few stats and show you everything that I worked on in the month of September. So I had one new start, and I worked on a total of 11 projects during the month of September. So we'll start with the new start first. If you watch my previous video, you will have already heard this story, but my new start is the Stephen King house, or was the Stephen King house by the Witchy Stitcher. This is a piece that I've decided I wanted to start and try to get the frame and the black part done, or as much of it done as I can by next April, when I'm going to be going to the Children of the Thread retreat. And I thought if I did the framework, then that would leave me, the ability to stitch on some of the fun stuff while I'm there. So anyway, I got it out and I started it a couple of weeks ago. And what I've decided to do is on Sundays, I'm going to pull it out and I'm going to put a couple of strands in on Sundays of the black, and just to see how far I can get doing that by next April. However, when I was showing this piece last video, I noticed something, and I'm going to have to start it over, and I'll explain here in just a second, but I wanted to go ahead and show it because I did actually stitch on it during the month of September, so I thought I'd show it in this video, the wrap-up video, before I frog. So, this is how much I did or got done with just putting in a couple of strands the last couple of Sundays. So during my last video, I was sitting here and I was looking at it, and I got to looking and thinking, and then I popped my picture up here and was talking about, working on the frame of the house, when I realized I started in the middle like I needed to. However, I didn't start in the middle of the pattern. I started here, because I pulled out the first page, because I'm working off paper pattern instead of pulling out the part that had this. So I'm going to have, luckily it's not that many stitches, but I'm going to frog that out and I'll be starting this over. So once again, this is the Stephen King house by the Witchy Stitcher, and I'm stitching it on 32 count Lugana in the color Gray Magic by Be Stitch Me Fabrics. I'm using all the Cob 4 DMC. This is 2/2 full cross. And my total number of stitches that I got in here, or got in the piece, is 145. So not too terribly bad to have to frog, and I may not have to frog the very top here. I haven't looked at the pattern yet, but maybe I'll get lucky and not have to frog every bit of it. But mistakes happen, no sense worrying about it. It's all just stitching, and, we'll get there eventually. All right, so now for my other pieces. So the next piece I'm going to show you is 2 dancing peacocks, and I should be putting up a picture of what it will look like when it's finished. And then I will be putting up a picture of what it looked like at the beginning of September. And I still have it in my Q-snap because I'm still working on it. Because this is one of the pieces I use for my gridiron stitching. So this is my largest piece that I have. And so I'm using it for the team that I'm following, which is the Tennessee Volunteers. And here's what it looks like now. So most of what I've done, I can't remember if I had a little bit left down here in this end of the diagonal, but I did come up here and start the new diagonal. And so this is a Haid with artwork, and it's based on artwork by Oleg Grolovov. One of these days, maybe I'll be able to pronounce his name halfway decent. It's being stitched on 18 count Aida in the color cream, 2/1 full cross, and in the month of September I put in 665 stitches on this for a total 16,366 stitches out of 486,500, and it's currently at 3% complete. The next piece I worked on, I believe, was a piece that I worked on for Stitchopoly during the month of September. And that piece is Wizard. This is a Design Works kit. It was designed by Joan Elliott. Now, I like the bright colors in this. I'm using everything in the kit. You should be seeing a picture of what it looked like at the beginning of September. It's being stitched on 14 count Aida. Yeah, it's off-white, cream colored. And I needed to do 200 stitches for Stitchopoly this month on this piece. So here's where he's at now. And pretty much all those stitches that I put in were up here in his hat. So I put in 200 stitches, and that brings this piece to a total of 11,735 stitches. This is done in 2/1 cross, and there is one little specialty thread there. And I really don't have that much more to go. Maybe I'll be able to finish it next year. We'll see. Because I mostly just have his hat and the rest of his hair here, the bottom part of his robe, and then the border. But I believe this piece may be coming out this week. Or not this week, but this month. It may be time for its rotation. We'll see. If I didn't say, this is 2/1 full cross. This was the Wizard. All right. My next piece is probably the one that you will see the biggest difference in. Is Maggie the Mess Maker. And this is a, excuse me, cannot talk, words are hard sometimes, Dimensions Gold Kit, Dimensions Gold Collection kit, and I'm using everything in the kit. And this is based on artwork by Charles Wazaki. Should be seeing a picture of what it looked like at the beginning of September. This is being stitched on the kit fabric, which is 18 count Aida in beige. And this is where I've gotten to. And this is the piece that for the month of September, I did 1 strand a day. So every day I pulled this piece out before I stitched on anything else, and I put 1 strand of thread in it. And when I say 1 strand of thread, sometimes I didn't put the whole strand in, because if there wasn't anywhere nearby for me to stitch with that one strand, then I go ahead and end it. But the majority of the stitches I put in this month were up here in the window with the I don't know if it's snow or clouds in the background. Let's look. It's kind of hard to tell. I think it's sky because it's kind of like you can't really tell it on the fabric, but that's like a very pale blue color. Then I came on over here and I started stitching the top of these curtains in and stitched this part of the wallpaper so that it's like this over here. I'm using, of course, all the threads that came in the kit, and this one calls for different numbers of threads, some full, some half cross. So what else do I need to tell you? I guess that's it, except for the number of stitches I put in. So for the month of September, just doing one strand a day, I was able to get in 2,562 stitches on this. And I'm really pleased at the progress that I made. This piece now has a total of 13,107 stitches in it. It's approximately 24% complete. All right, the next piece is a chatelaine, and you should be seeing a picture of what it will look like when it's finished. It's called Sparkling Peacock. You should be seeing a picture of what it will look like when it's finished. Sorry, just trying to put this on board here. Need to find a way to be quicker with that. This is being stitched on 28 count cashel linen. Again, words are hard. In sapphire green. Now my other chatelaine that I'm stitching on, I'm using all the called for specialty threads, beads, and petite treasure braid. This one, however, I am not. So I'm using all the called for DMC, plus I'm using the conversion for the specialty threads, the silks, the DMC conversion of that. But I am using the called for petite treasure braid, and I will be using the beads that's called for on this. Not sure if you can see the sparkle of the petite treasure braid or not. Might be able to tell it there. But I got quite a bit of progress on this one, or I feel like I did anyway. So during the month of September, I believe I got in 477 stitches on this, for a total of 2,348 stitches so far. And I'm counting the specialty stitches as a stitch as well. So this has various numbers of threads in it, has specialty stitches, quarter stitches, half stitches, full stitches. So I'm doing all the stitches first, the regular full cross, and then I'm going back and for each part doing the specialty stitches. I've already done the specialty stitches here in the middle of this, so this part is done except for the beads, and so I'm doing the full cross, the regular cross stitch on the outside before I start on the specialty stitches on this part. So this is Sparkling Peacock. My next piece is Kringles. And it is a design by Little House Needleworks. I just love this piece. And I've only got, excuse me, I got a frog in my throat. I've only got 2 rooms left to go. And started on this one this past month. Don't have it finished, but then I've got this one to go. You should see be seeing a before picture. This is what it looks like now. Did you see the whole thing? So I started working on the doorway to the store this time. And I don't have completely half of it done, but I've got close to half of it done. So it usually takes me about 2 stitchy sessions to do a square. So I'm thinking about 3 more sessions and this one will be done. And I'm not sure how many more times this one will come out before Christmas. But if I don't get it done by Christmas, it'll be done early next year. I'm not sure of the count the fabric is. I believe it's an 18 count Ada and like a light tan shade. And I'm using all the called for threads in this piece, with the exception of 2. So all these areas here with this brighter red in it, it calls for the same color of red that's in these bricks. And I wanted it to pop a little bit more. So what I did is I substituted DMC. Trying to get it out here. Not working very well. It's this color DMC right there. And this is 326 is the color. And I just think this looks really good in this piece. And those it just pops right off of the fabric. And then the other substitution I made is it calls for a blend of a Versois and the cream colored for some of the, like there's a chandelier, there's some candles in the trees, some of the gift wrap, and the clock face. Not sure if you can see the sparkle. But anyway, I decided to try this. And it is DMC Etoile. And it is C738. And it just gives it just a little bit of sparkle. So those are my substitutions for Kringle. For the month of September, I forgot to tell you how many stitches I put in. I did 1,016 stitches. That brings this piece to a total of 23,639 stitches so far. And I'd say I'm probably almost maybe 85% done. Once I get this stairs, the doorway here with the stairs done, I'd say I'll be 90% done. All right. Our next piece that I'm going to show you is Night Before Christmas. This piece is a Coolers Design Studio piece. This one just moved into my main rotation. So this month it got its first, in fact, I believe it was last week, it got its first rotation in the rotation, if that makes sense. It was designed by Sandy Orton. And I'm using, or you should be seeing a picture of what it looked like at the beginning of September. I'm using all the called for threads, which is DMC. I'm stitching it on 16 count Ada in the color cream. And this is where I got to. This right here is completely done. It's got back stitching and everything in it. I'm sure there's a little bit of back stitching in Santa here coming out of the chimney. There's words here and words that go around the sides that I still haven't back stitched yet. And then once I get the house here done, I will back stitch that. So when this comes out next time, I may go ahead and do the back stitch up here and start the words up here. I may not do the back stitch on Santa yet because I'm not, without looking at the pattern, I'm not completely sure I'm done with him. I believe I am, but I'm not sure. If I am, I may do the back stitching on him. And this one, you stitch with the number of threads that the pattern calls for. It has half stitches, quarter stitches, and full cross. And I got in 659 stitches on this piece for a total of 4,019 stitches so far. And it's approximately 20% complete. All right, the next piece is another Haid, and you should be seeing a picture of what it will look like when it's finished. It is Her Majesty. You should also be seeing a picture of where it was at the beginning of September. This piece is being stitched on, I believe, 18 count Ada. And when I first started, I was doing a typewriter method. I got kind of bored with that, so then I came back over here to my tried and true and started doing diagonal stitching. So that is where I am at the moment. And I've gotten down to here. I'm using all the called for DMC, 2/1 full cross, and this piece got 629 stitches this past month for a total of 9,150 stitches so far. And she is sitting at 4% complete. All right, my next piece, I just finished up my Stitchopoly stitching, and this is, or I had a Stitchopoly go to finish up this round for the this time. Again, words are hard, but this is Playing with Jacks, the Cricut collection. And I believe this was designed by Vicki Hastings. This is being stitched on 14 count Ada in the color Vintage Taupe. You should be seeing a picture of what it looked like at the beginning of September. I'm using all the called for DMC thread, 2/1 full cross, and I needed to get 300 stitches on it for Stitchopoly, and so I did that. So now this pumpkin's starting to come in here. So as I said, I got 300 stitches on this one for a total of 941 stitches so far on this piece. All right, almost done. 2 more pieces. So the next piece is my piece that I'm using, my other piece that I'm using for gridiron grind. And I'm using this piece for the opposing teams that UT plays. And I'm hoping to complete this before the season's up and maybe put another piece in there that's kind of close to finish, because that's why I picked this piece, because it felt like it was closest to finish. And this piece is the Postman by Cottage Garden Samplings. They did a series of snowmen in different occupations, I believe, actually. I want to say occupations because there's like clowns. There's just different, they're dressed differently, doing different things. And I like this one. So this is the Postman. For this one, I am stitching. Oh, you should be seeing a picture of what it looked like at the beginning of September. I'm using all the called for DMCs. It calls for a Weeks Dye Works in Aztecs Red. I'm not using that. I'm substituting it out for Color and Cotton Red Fox. Oh, I guess I'm not using all the called for DMC because I'm substituting out 3799, and I'm using Rustic Black, which is also Color and Cotton. I'm using some of my stash here. But this is where I got to in the month of September. And I believe the only time I pulled this out was for gridiron stitching. So I feel like I got quite a bit done on him as well. He got 605 stitches. For a total of 3,856 stitches. And he's being stitched on 16 count Aida fiddlers. And it's 2/1. So I don't have too terribly much left on him. I've got his scarf, his head, then the various mailboxes, and the bird. And those are all rather small compared to him, so may not take too much longer to get him completed. And then the last piece I'm going to be showing you today is Halloween Ouija. This is a piece by Tiny Modernist. Originally, when it came out, it was a stitch along. Of course, I didn't start it until well after that. But I like this piece. Should be seeing a picture of what it looked like at the beginning of September. This is being stitched on 32 count Lagana in the color Dusty Cottage by Bestitch Me Fabrics. And here's where I got to. And I believe this piece came out to be stitched on in September because it was its birthday month. So this only got 1 day stitching, I believe. I'm using both called for threads and substituting some of the overdyes from Color and Cotton on this piece. I got, on the 1 day I worked on it, I got 322 stitches for a total of 1,055 stitches so far in this piece. All right, well, this was a short and sweet video, but I kind of wanted to try out doing a monthly wrap-up and see how hard it is to do that in the middle of my regular Flosstube But I myself do enjoy seeing the difference from the beginning of the month to the end of the month, especially on my one strand a day. So I thought you guys might have enjoyed that. So if you enjoyed the video, please comment and let me know. And I will see you on my next video, which should be next Monday. Until then, take some time for yourself. You can hear Benjamin meowing. Take some time for yourself and get some stitching in. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.